Hiya, welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where we keep great radio from the past alive. Today, we're not really going back that far, but we are going to check in with a radio legend. His name is Dave Ross. He has worked at KIRO Radio in Seattle for 47 years. He was started out there as a news anchor and then went to host his own midday talk show, the Dave Ross Show. And then he wound up in the morning hosting Seattle's morning news with Colleen O'Brien. He just did an amazing job, a true professional, could really make you understand news stories. And on December 19th, 2024, he retired from the station after 47 years. So here we have the last hour of the very last show with Dave Ross. Let's check it out. Gets a little emotional, or at least as emotional as Dave Ross ever gets. Let's check it out. The Seattle Morning News on KIRO 97.3.
Best source for local news. KIRO-FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Be there at emeraldqueen.com.
Seattle's Morning News. Let's get some news in this morning. The question neighbors are asking in the Valley Park East neighborhood of Auburn is who shot that teenage boy on Tuesday night. Here's KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch.
Neighbors say multiple shots rang out just before 8 p.m., hitting a home near the intersection of L Place Southeast and 6th Street Southeast. Neighbors say a 15-year-old boy who they believe was an innocent bystander was shot in the stomach in what police call a targeted attack. Carla Jones lives next door.
And I heard pow, and I looked, and there was a flash, and then next thing was more shots came behind it. We got on the floor. In about 3 or 4 minutes, there were more shots, and they were in the back of the house.
The boy is listed in serious condition. Police say so far they have no suspect information. In Auburn, James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle police officer Kevin Dave now agreeing to pay a traffic fine from the January 2023 hitting and killing of a 23-year-old graduate student. This happened on South Lake Union in that area. An investigation shows the officer was responding to an overdose call going more than 70 miles per hour when he hit Janvi Kandula, who was in a crosswalk. He is on body camera. He's heard explaining to another officer at the scene what happened.
She was in the crosswalk. She saw me. She started running through the crosswalk. Slammed on my brakes.
Now he has to pay $5,000, attend an 8-hour class, and not commit any serious traffic offenses for a year.
8:06, almost 8,000 marijuana plants were seized from an illegal Tacoma grow and distribution operation. Tacoma police said they worked with the Washington State Liquor Cannabis Board investigators to investigate a black market weed operation, and they found that a licensed cannabis seller was diverting and selling significant quantities of cannabis off the record. Investigators also seized 3 cars, a gun, and cash. The license holder was arrested and charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent and unlawful manufacturing of a controlled substance.
There's been a wave of medical emergencies at a youth lockup in Seattleites. KIRO News Radio's Aaron Granillo has details.
Staffers at the Green Hills School believe residents are using synthetic drugs known as K2 or Spice. The Department of Children, Youth, and Families runs the facility, and spokesperson Allison Krutzinger says they've responded to 8 medical emergencies in the past 2 weeks.
What we're seeing is sort of altered state, so not loss of consciousness, but altered state, some lethargia that requires medical attention.
They think the drugs may be coming in through letters in the mail. In response, Green Hill is giving residents copies of letters. They're also limiting visits and increasing searches. Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Washington's unemployment rate is down to 4.6%. Latest numbers from November match the ones that show the state added about 30,000 new jobs, most of the gains due to the Boeing machinist strike ending in October.
Speaking of Boeing, the company has resumed production across its 737, 767, 777, 777X airplane programs. The jet maker says its factories in our region are using a safety management system to flag any issues. Earlier this month, Boeing said it restarted production of its best-selling 737 MAX jets.
About 10,000 unionized Amazon delivery workers have walked off the job at 7 facilities in New York, Georgia, Illinois, and California. They hope to pressure the company into contract talks with the Teamsters Union. Amazon says the delivery drivers actually work for a third party. Penn State University labor and employment professor Paul Clark spoke on CBS Mornings.
That's Amazon's position, but the National Labor Relations Board has found that Amazon is responsible for those employees, and therefore they can organize.
Amazon says it doesn't expect the worker walkout to have any effect on its operations during one of the busiest times of the year. Only about 1% of Amazon's workforce are union members.
Nearly $50 million in federal funding will go toward planning a future rail that links Seattle to Portland and Vancouver, BC. The project, known as the Cascadia High-Speed Rail, would create a new train service that reaches 250 miles per hour. Supporters say it would ease congestion on the I-5 corridor. The latest round of funding from the Department of Transportation grant, Governor Inslee said the state legislature throwing in another $5.5 million for the rail. The governor will join us in a few moments, too, to talk with Dave Ross on his last broadcast day. And Sully, you are upset by this story.
It just makes no sense. Have we not learned anything from California? And, oh, by the way, where are they going to put this high-speed rail that goes all this fast? It can't go anywhere near Seattle. There's just no room for it.
Well, you know what I know?
Where's it going to go?
I know that even though Dave and I are leaving, you will stay on this story and bring it to our listeners.
I mean, how many billions of dollars in years is the light rail or this high speed in California? Yeah. Come on. Just because they did it and messed up doesn't mean we should do it and screw up as well.
We'll see.
This is a dumb idea.
Thank you, Sully. Oh, I so enjoy his fire.
Starting this weekend, over 500,000 passengers are expected to ride the state ferries through the end of the year. KIRO News Radio's Nate Connors.
More than 600,000 passengers are expected to travel between December 20th and January 1st, and that means long backups at ferry terminals and on the roads getting there. To avoid long wait times, it's best to travel during non-peak hours, which is typically early morning or late evening. Some routes will operate on their weekend schedule on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and you can always avoid the lines entirely by bicycling or walking on. The Washington State Ferries reminds us to always visit their website and check your route before you head out. Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
The Everett Aqua Sox new ballpark will be down the street from the Angel of the Winds Arena. The Everett Council voting last night to approve this plan. The city of Everett says Funko Field just doesn't meet minor league baseball's new facility standards. The city's economic director says the new stadium will offer more growth for Everett, too.
The city is not just about the economy. The city is about things that make it fun to live in the town.
And in addition to Aqua Sox, it could host United Soccer League men's and women's teams as well.
Another blow for the Washington State Cougars as their head coach is leaving for the same job at Wake Forest. That means Jake Dickert will not be coaching Wazoo in the Holiday Bowl December 27th. Pardon me. The news comes 2 days after it was announced the Cougs quarterback John Mateer was entering the transfer portal. His next stop is the University of Oklahoma.
And more promising news about Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith, who was injured. His knee was injured in the loss to the Packers. Here's Coach Mike McDonald.
Geno feels good. Did walkthrough today. We'll see how many reps. We got a plan for practice. We'll see how it kind of alters as practice starts to declare, but he'll be out there.
He's hopeful. Running back Kenneth Walker III will also be healthy enough to play against the Vikings this Sunday. Walker has missed the last 2 games with a calf injury.
11 past 8 o'clock, and that's time for the KIRO 7 Pinpoint Forecast, although I see this is labeled a special message from KIRO 7 meteorologist Nick Allard.
Hi, Dave. Meteorologist Nick Allard here from KIRO 7. Truly, you're excellent. We're going to miss you, man. I mean, we really are. It's been a pleasure working with you. I really got lucky that I was able to be part of your show. Thank you for welcoming me and always making me part of it. No questions asked. I mean, you've meant a lot to my family in general. I mean, my in-laws still talk about the time they came into the studio and got to spend half a day or a day with you because they wanted at an auction. They still talk about how you're the Western Washington Renaissance man. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. I'm kidding. Of course you are. But I really appreciate everything you've done. Congratulations. And I wish you nothing but the best. I am really going to miss working with you. But you know what, Dave? I'm sure Sully and I will find your phone number or where you live. We'll show up. We'll do some mock radio casts. We'll make fun of Sully not raking his leaves. And then we will not rake your leaves. But again, I appreciate it. You're the best. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Allard, always making weather fun. And he's he's always a sparkle of energy.
Oh, absolutely.
In the morning.
He's been such a wonderful addition to our show, bringing all of the laughter. And yeah, he's perfect. I wish he could just join us in the studio, right? Become our fourth host.
Well, once upon a time, radio and TV were in the same building. And,
That's right.
Harry Wappler would walk down the hall and we'd discuss weather and things like that.
It was an amicable divorce, but had to be done.
Times have changed. It is 8:13, real-time traffic from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. Here's Chris Sullivan.
And before I get to the traffic, just want to give you some stats on just how ridiculous high-speed rail would be in this state. Just to let you know, California, $33 billion is what it was supposed to cost, and it was supposed to be finished 4 years ago. As of today, not a single segment has been built, and the estimated cost is $128 billion.
Wow.
That is our future. For once, look to California and not do what they do.
8:15, Seattle's Morning News.
Oh, Governor Inslee, we're waiting. He's supposed to be joining us right now, so we're waiting for his call.
You're eating pie. Deep
into this coconut cream pie that Tom Douglas brought by this morning to honor Dave on his final broadcast after 47 years. Oh my gosh, this is the most delicious pie I've ever eaten.
You saw how much trouble it was to cut it because it has a structurally sound crust. So
absolutely.
that you really have to work at it.
I really think one of that should have gone into either one of your faces.
Maybe.
I mean, it is coconut cream pie.
There's still a lot of show left. It could happen. We could do anything we
Why
want.
else do we have video cameras in the studio?
That's right.
Except for hijinks and shenanigans.
Let's remember that I think in most cases those pies are actually just shaving cream.
No,
that is probably true. Yeah, or whipped cream or something like that.
Nobody was going to waste a Tom Douglas coconut cream pie.
That thing is massive.
So while we wait for the governor, who's late, and I'm not a fan of that, let's talk to the list. What? I'm being nice. Okay. I'm just trying to put the pressure on him to give you a call. This is a big day for you, right? You can't be late to the big day. The listeners want to know something. So they've been asking you questions, giving you lots of love on the text line. Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line, by the way. And one person wanted you to talk about filling in for Charles Osgood, what that was like.
It was actually the first time terrifying. Just to give a little backstory, just like you, I was a radio nerd. Mm-hmm. I had the advantage of living near New York City. My dad commuted into New York City every day, and I go into work with him a couple of times. And I always, we'd go by the CBS Broadcast Center. So as I decided I wanted to get into this career, I would ask around to radio stations, let me sit in. And WCBS in New York said, go ahead and sit in. In the morning I sat in, there was Charles Osgood, because he began as a news anchor at WCBS. And actually the guy I admired most was the guy who sat in the corner. And every half hour he would say, CBS in New York, WCBS News Radio 880. And that's the guy I really wanted.
That's the job you wanted.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Osgood was there. He was interviewing, I believe, was Bill Whitaker, who was also a reporter there at the time. And to be able to end up subbing for him, of course, was talk about a dream come true. It is 8:18, and Governor Inslee has indeed joined us. Governor, thank you very much. Okay, what's up?
Well, this is a big day in the state of Washington. We have a couple iconic figures in the state of Washington, one being Mount Rainier and the other being Dave Ross. Yeah. And so the fact that you're going off to be a full-time opera singer instead of keeping us wise every morning is a major event in the history of the state of Washington, and I wanted to help celebrate it.
Oh, thank you.
What a career. What a career. Dave, I understand you were in the very first radio broadcast. It was 1920 in Seattle, and that was year, of course, we had women's suffrage, and also but unfortunately, Prohibition started, and the League of Nations were created. What did you think was most historically significant in retrospect, in your view?
I didn't think the League of Nations was going to work because they had nothing in common. And as for women's suffrage, I thought it was long overdue. I'm saying that because were I not to say that, the person next to me here would be at my throat in a heartbeat. But I think you will agree. I think we have. Isn't Washington one of the states with the largest number of females in the legislature? Something like that?
I believe we're up there on the top, and we were one of the first, actually, to embrace women's suffrage. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons our state almost always elects incredibly gifted governors. And they made one they made one mistake when they didn't re-elect me to Congress in '94, and unfortunately, you and I didn't make it to Congress together. In the year you ran too, but I sure enjoyed running with you, and it's just been a joy. David, now tell me, I want to know your secret. So you have a secret sauce of being extremely insightful and provocative, but still gracious and unthreatening. What is your secret sauce? People want to know.
Because I will take a good idea regardless of the source, right? So if, and this, as you know, Governor, is probably what got me into trouble in my own political campaign. I really, if it was a good idea, and sometimes those ideas were labeled conservative, and sometimes they were labeled liberal, whatever. But to me, if it worked, if it got results, why not endorse it? And I noticed that these days, if your idea at all resembles the very same idea proposed by a political opponent, you are duty-bound to say, that is the worst damn idea I ever saw. And so I probably wouldn't have lasted in politics as long as you have, because well, I don't know. I got to ask you what your secret is to longevity in politics. I mean, you have to sway with the breeze. What do you have to do?
Well, you just got to ask yourself. You have some tough decisions to make. When you're governor, COVID, and how to deal with climate change and everything else. And when you reach a fork in the road and you have a big decision to make, finally, you listen to your advisors, you get briefed, you talk to all your constituents, and just before you walk out the door to announce your decision, you say, what would Dave Ross do? And that's how I make decisions.
What you're saying is you're blaming me. Figure out, I see. Find somebody else to blame if it goes wrong, huh?
I have enjoyed so much listening to your insights while shaving, and you've been up for 4 or 5 hours by that time.
Yes.
And it has been so inspiring to me to have a figure that is really interested and has interesting ideas that somehow just provokes more thought than ire in people. And I really do believe it's a particular genius, and Washingtonians have enjoyed it, and I have enjoyed it so much. And so I wish you well. And I hope that this is going to lead to a more professional opera career rather than an amateur one. You certainly deserve it.
You are sending the opera fans of Seattle into a panic. I want to reassure them, no, I am not going into opera in any way, except to be in the audience a lot. And I want to thank you. I know we've had our differences. I know we've had our contentious interviews, but I hope you know it was all in the interest of keeping people informed.
I always enjoyed a good dialogue with you, and I hope there'll be some more and more relaxed settings. So, Dave, congratulations.
Governor, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
It is...
Why did you look at me when you said contentious?
I was afraid you were going to say something.
You're the one that gave me the eye. No, it's been good fun, right? I mean, that's the deal, too. And to all fairness to Governor Inslee, just coming on the radio station is the right step, right? Whether that interview turns out to be informative, not informative, answering the question, coming forward, being forward-facing, that's important for politicians to do.
I will explain something, because I read all my critics, and, you asked them a softball question, why didn't you, push the knife in? When I ask somebody on the air, I don't do it to ambush them. I don't think it achieves anything. If they don't want to answer the question, then that should be evident to the listener, and they can, vote accordingly the next time. But I wanted people to at least agree to come on knowing they'd be treated fairly.
Sure.
If I think politicians expect difficult questions. That's why they run, and they get one run for office will tell you that a politician's got to be ready for anything, because just doorbelling, people are going to get in your face. I had one person spit at the ground and rip up my campaign leaflet when I rang his doorbell.
Wow.
That kind of thing just happens. They're not afraid of difficult questions, but they don't want one bad answer to ruin their reelection chances. And if you sit down and actually have a talk with them long enough, you will find out where they stand. And that was my position. I don't want people to say, that was an unfair interview. I will never go on with him again because that accomplishes nothing.
That's true. You are a decent man. And I think that's evident to all the listeners out there. You've always been fair, you've always been kind, and you've always been curious. And that's your recipe for success.
Well, thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
And back at you.
I'm going to keep my fire, though.
Yeah, I know. I hope you do. It's 8:24, real-time traffic from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. Here's Chris.
Oh, and I just heard the governor proposed a new tax on cars to pay you a retirement gift. That'll make our cars go up $100 in tax.
It's a joke.
That's a joke.
That's one of the best taxes that he'll ever impose.
We're going to raise $100 million for your retirement, Dave. Does that sound all right?
That's just back over it. Yeah.
I will pay. I'm happy to pay that tax. Believe me, because you know how much I love paying taxes.
I know.
Looking at the drive right now, and call Beacon.
I just ate a piece of Tom Douglas's pie, so can you do the weather for me, Colleen?
Absolutely. It's such good pie. Oh my gosh, the coconut cream pie. We have showers out there. I'm looking at the radar. The heavy rain is just hanging out over Bellingham this morning, but it's starting to move out of the area. We will have drier conditions this afternoon, and highs will be in the low to mid 50s. Right now, 46 outside the Carter Subaru studio. And coming up, I'll give my final newscast, and more dignitaries make their way through. King County Executive Dow Constantine joining us in the studio with a proclamation of his own. That's next on Seattle's Morning News.
Join us in congratulating Dave Ross on a well-deserved retirement.
After 47 years, the time has come for me to retire. Working here has really been a joy because of people like you.
You can share your memories and tributes. Visit mynorthwest.com/Dave Ross to write a personal letter to Dave.
This is Dave Ross, back at 9 with the Dave Ross Show on News Talk 97.3 KIRO.
Thank you, Dave, for your commitment and contribution to journalism and to the Pacific Northwest. Your legacy will continue to inspire us all.
I've never looked at this as a job. This has been a privilege.
KIRO Newsradio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning. I'm Colleen O'Brien. So what are those drones? Where are they coming from? And are they a threat? A Washington congressman isn't happy with the explanation coming from the White House.
President Biden says there's, quote, nothing nefarious, apparently, end quote. Well, Washington Democratic Congressman Adam Smith, ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee, tells Seattle's Morning News the administration has done a poor job of explaining what's going on and the actual threat level.
A lot of it has been overblown and exaggerated. Absolutely. There is no Iranian mothership off the coast of our country launching these drones, all right?
But he says we do need to know where they are coming from. And he says U.S. military bases don't have the radar they need to detect low-flying, slow-moving objects like drones. And that, he says, has gotten American troops killed overseas. Those radar systems are now being built. Frank Lindsay, KIRO Newsradio.
Bags of Lay's classic potato chips are being recalled in Washington and Oregon. The FDA says the chips may contain undeclared milk. So far, no serious allergic reactions in connection to the recall have been reported. Thousands of unionized Amazon delivery drivers have walked off the job at 7 facilities in 4 states. Here's CBS's Jim Crisula.
The workers hope to pressure the company into contract talks with their union. These are Amazon workers in Queens, New York.
We got the power. What kind of power? Union power. Who has power? We have the power.
Amazon says it doesn't expect the worker walkout to have any effect on its operations during one of the busiest times of the year. Only about 1% of the company's workforce are union members. And Amazon says the striking delivery drivers actually work for a third-party business. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
8:33. Let's go to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. Here's Sully.
Yeah, just got an update from the State Patrol on this wrong-way crash we've been talking about that's basically closed westbound I-90 coming down from Snoqualmie Pass. The driver going the wrong direction died in this crash, colliding with a semi. So this is a fatal crash investigation involving a wrong-way driver. Drivers westbound are squeezing by on the shoulder. Fortunately, the weather up there is pretty decent right now. This is around milepost 45. So that's what we've been dealing with there. But we did just get the news that this is a fatality crash investigation, so that's going to be there a while. The rest of the map, not too bad. I mean, we have heavy brake lights through the Renton S-curves. We're looking at about a 30-minute trip or less, probably 25 now. Behind that on the Valley Freeway, we've got about a 40-minute trip. The spillover from 180th on up is a little heavy. Federal Way to Seattle, about 50 minutes at this point, 45 from Everett to Seattle, and about 52 from Everett into Bellevue. This traffic report brought to you by BMW Northwest. Incredible year-end savings on new BMWs and 200 pre-owns, all makes and models, only at BMW Northwest. Visit bmwnorthwest.com today.
And the forecast, we do have showers up in the Mount Vernon area, down through Arlington. It's heavy in spots, lighter showers from Everett through Seattle and to the south. These showers are going to break up and move out of the area. By the afternoon, will be drier, highs in the mid-50s. Right now, 46 outside the Carter Subaru studio. And for the last time, I'm Colleen O'Brien, KIRO Newsradio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
So that was your last newscast.
That was my last lockout. Yeah,
the last lockout.
Newscast. Yeah, wow. I know. There's not enough time for everything I want to say. But
6:35.
we must go on because we have a big
yes, we do.
announcement. Yeah.
8:35, actually. I can't even read the clock.
You did it again.
No,
Classic Dave.
One last time. We're joined by King County Executive Dow Constantine. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks, Dave.
Now, you know I have your proclamation from the Mayor of Seattle right there. It's a major municipality, and I know that you run one as well. I was just wondering if you might have a proclamation of any sort to share with us this morning.
Well, I do indeed, and I am mightily impressed with the City of Seattle proclamation. However, it is but one of 39 cities in King County.
I see.
We have a proclamation on behalf of the 2.3 million residents of King County, declaring this day, December 19th, to be Dave Ross Day in our fair county.
Wow. Well, now, does that entitle me to, like, a free bus pass or anything like that?
Today, the bus is free for Dave Ross.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely.
He's going to be a man about town with that.
Well, I'm going to go wild now.
It doesn't count until I sign it, though, so I'll do that right now. Here we go. This is good radio right here.
Get a picture of this, Charlie. This is being signed now.
Haven't you heard? Radio's on camera now. We got cameras everywhere.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, my goodness. Now, what nice things do you have to say about Dave in that proclamation? Let's hear it, because he loves hearing all this about him.
Besides the fact that it has coconut pie on it now.
I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to eat in the studio, but Tom Douglas brought in a coconut pie.
I mean, that is very kind of him.
Let that sit there.
It has a lot of whereases about things we already know about Dave. And, you know, we get into talking about your KIRO duties as well as commentaries on CBS Radio from 1983 to 2004, your production and hosting of Chip Talk, and you're running the first syndicated daily radio report for the Associated Press. What we are really interested in, Dave, what I'm interested in, is the presence that you brought to Seattle radio as the voice of reason, as the voice of gentility. Because in my job, I get to experience kind of the new wave, the new way of extremism, maybe, and overheated talk on the radio. Right. And I was wondering if you could give me some hope about a path back to civic discourse.
Well, I think the key is to be open with your communications and tell people what's actually going on. You're right. People have a deep distrust of government these days. I think what they have to understand is that public employees are people just like them who, in most cases, at least in my experience, are dedicated and are in public service for a reason. They want to be of service to the public. There are lots of things. I mean, I traveled for 47 years on roads that I didn't build. I didn't build a single one of them. I drank water from a water system that I also didn't build and didn't regulate. And I didn't, I don't know how to check it for safety. And I walk streets that are protected by, I'm not a cop. I don't go around protecting the neighborhood. Public servants do that. And I think you can speak frankly about that. And also then tell people when you've made a mistake. Say, this plan was a bad idea and we screwed up, but we're going to learn from it. And I think people appreciate that kind of honesty.
Well, here in my last year, I have ample opportunity to do that. So thank you for that. And I know you're a music fan. And yes. I'm sure I'll be interrupted if I'm taking up too much time.
Are you going to sing?
I am not going to sing, although I might volunteer to do it off mic. But in addition to currently popular music, you're a known Gilbert and Sullivan aficionado. Yes. And most of us are familiar with the greatest hits.
Yes.
What would be your recommendation for someone like me who thinks of himself as a music person, but is not steeped in the canon of Gilbert and Sullivan? Where's the best point of entry for that?
The best point of entry for that? Probably HMS Pinafore or Pirates of Penzance.
Yes.
I am the very model of a modern major general of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England. I quote the fights historical from Marathon to Waterloo and water categorical. I'm very well acquainted with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About by one theorem, a team with a lot of news, with many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. And I love that. I think that once you've drunk from that cup, you will never go back to the old music.
Is there more recent music that you're particularly enamored of?
I just saw Wicked for the second time yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Defying gravity, ooh, defying gravity. Anyway, as you know, I'm not an opera singer, or even a pop music singer for that matter.
And yet, my daughter, if she were listening, would be mightily impressed by this.
Actually, I have a daughter in there who is listening right now, along with a granddaughter, I believe. Hello, Genesis.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, she waves at Papa. Look
is.
at that little hand coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Well, Dow, thank you very much.
I would shake your hand, but the coconut cream pie.
There's too much fun. No, I understand completely. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for your service to our community. We are going to desperately miss you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
It is 8:41. Chris, do you have a hot spot?
Yeah, I do. Totally northbound I-5 as you work your way into downtown. We'll break it down for you next.
This is KIRO Newsradio.
Join us in congratulating Dave Ross on a well-deserved retirement.
After 47 years, the time has come for me to retire.
What are we going to do without your voice?
I think you'll soldier on.
You can share your memories and tributes. Visit mynorthwest.com/Dave Ross to write a personal letter to Dave.
The lamps are shaking here. We are rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dave, for your commitment and contribution to journalism and to the Pacific Northwest. Your legacy will continue to inspire us all.
That's historic right there.
8:43. Let's check the roads with Sully at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Yeah, the roads are fine. I haven't had a chance to do this because I haven't thought of anything in advance.
That's because it's not goodbye. We'll see each other.
You guys have been my family here for 10 years. Dave, I've known you longer than that, but for the first 10 of my years, I don't think you acknowledged I lived in the building because I was out doing street reporting because Dave is so hard to approach when you're in this business. And, of course, he always had his headphones on. He was just doing his job. If you want any gossip or anything in the newsroom, you do not talk to Dave Ross. He doesn't care. He just does his job. So I've kind of emulated that. And Dave, as I told you in the card I left, there are two things that I will always think of when I think of Dave Ross, and that's humility and integrity. You have done this job better than anyone. I don't have many icons in my life that I look up to, but I do. And it's you, and I don't say those kinds of things very often. I try to live my news life like you do, and pay attention to your family life like you do, that you try to break those things up, right? And it's hard. Colleen, I know you're like my younger sister. Yeah. We've had our dust-ups over the years over a variety of different philosophical issues, let's say. But
More
I
than
think
that,
of you.
You're one of the warmest people in this newsroom, and I've appreciated your
Again,
heart,
you turned
brother.
it on me. Stop that. You're good. I fell right into that trap. But no, I think of you. I think of a dogged journalist. You won't let go. You won't let go of the answers. You won't until you get an answer. And you're conscientious. You try so hard to make others better. And have worked so hard to promote people in our business, in our newsroom, to help them and help me. And I'm going to miss you guys tremendously. But the good news is that I'm a text away. Yeah. If you need help to the airport, Dave, when you're not taking light rail,
thank you.
I'll give you my personal traffic reports. It's what I do. But I've enjoyed my time here with you guys, and it's going to be Monday's going to be rough. Monday's going to be rough for me.
I think we should set up a text chain of OGSMN.
We could do that.
Right.
We could do that. Or
Only
remember
for
back
us.
to the days when you were home and you didn't during COVID and you didn't comb your beard or shave your beard. We just do a Teams video.
I know.
And it would either be June dancing or you tinkering or Patty yelling something in the background. Yeah, but
Wasn't
anyway.
it June who said, I need to poop?
Yeah,
When
probably.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But
Famous
anyway, I
for
love
that.
you guys both. You've had a
Love you
tremendous
too.
impact on my life. And You drivers, you'll get through it. You'll be fine. Everything's light today.
Thank you, Sully.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
I love you too. You're my big brother. It's gonna be hard not to be there in the morning sitting next to you.
I dreaded phys ed class. I dreaded coaches. You're the coach who picked me for the team.
Oh,
that's what I feel
I'm just
like.
glad I could help you get through throwing out that opening pitch at Safeco at T-Mobile.
You coaching me on that first pitch, you have no idea how terrified I was of that.
You did great.
You were so patient, and you didn't ridicule me. That's what I like. You didn't ridicule me.
Appreciate you guys.
One last segment, Dave.
Okay.
Go.
8:49, Seattle's Morning News. And now into the studio, not just G. Scott, but Ursula Reutin as well.
Good morning.
Welcome to you both. It says here, G and Ursula will surely have their own thoughts and feelings to share about the show and about Colleen and Dave. So get to it.
Okay. Well, thoughts and feelings. I feel exactly like I did when I had to say goodbye to Steven, our oldest son, when he was starting kindergarten. Mm-hmm. It was this profound feeling of sadness, but now it's like a double whammy because both of you are leaving.
Well, yeah. Turns out that's how
it's turned out, exactly. Yeah. And I just want to say what I want about both of you would take weeks. But
we have time.
I'm going to start actually with Colleen.
Make it quick because we're here for Dave.
Yeah. So, but I know, and see, that's so you. You have had an incredible career, not just here at KIRO, but in the radio industry. For people who don't know, I did try to hire you when you worked across the street. We call it across the street.
Yeah.
I saw your talent then. Everyone has seen your talent, but it's beyond the talent. It is your kind heart. You are such an empathetic person. You are brilliant. You are an incredible broadcaster that we are going to miss. But most of all, I'm just going to miss you.
I'll miss you.
And then Dave, I have only known KIRO Radio with you here. So the fact that I'm going to be the person with the longest tenure here?
Yes.
We've said that, but you don't understand how I don't like that feeling, first of all. But secondly, you have been a mentor for so many people. You have been a mentor for everyone who has passed through these doors. Not knowing that it was always, oh man, what would Dave do? What is it that I can learn from Dave? And that's a lot. We've all learned from you. But what I've loved and appreciated most is that the amount of talent you have, and every station in the country would have died to have you. You chose to stay here, and you chose to stay humble, and there's not going to be another Dave.
I chose to stay here because of people like you, frankly, and Colleen and Chris. You guys, and as you were just sort of referring to before, these two have their disagreements, and sometimes I would duck under the table, not just for the earthquake either.
But we always hugged it out in the end.
You always respect each other. That's all. I don't want people to agree all the time, or otherwise we'd all be out of business. And I've got family members here. You know what? We don't agree all the time either. And sometimes, sometimes we have fights. But the relationship endures. The points of view can change, but your love for the person can still be there. That's not impossible to do. And what can I say? This has been a gift to me, and I'm just glad to hear that people found it valuable. Because you go in here,
valuable. I mean,
you talk in a closed room. You don't see the audience most of the time, and you wonder, did I do anything today? And I guess we did.
I hear that.
Right?
I do. I understand that feeling, and I think what we're seeing right now on the text line and the letters, everybody's writing you, and there are lots of eyes on us right now. I don't know if you can see this, Dave, but the newsroom is filled with people.
Isn't the door supposed to be closed?
You can hear the clapping, and it's because you did make a difference every day by showing up and being you, Dave Ross.
Thank you. What is the out time for this segment?
You got as much time as you want. CBS is what you get hit.
And
worry about that.
G is here as well, and of course, I know G loves you so much.
I dressed like this for you, buddy.
He did.
Because this is the fanciest stuff I've got. And this, by the way, is my 25-year service watch. There you go. And you see, it's very, very expensive, and it opens up and it flips over, so when you're playing polo, the watch face can't get scratched.
Wow.
Well, I'll say these couple things to you guys. First,
I'm going to miss you. And I'll start with you, Colleen. I'll make it quick. There's the old saying that people don't care how much you know until they find out how much you care. And since I've been here for 10 years, you've displayed that to me.
Thank you, G.
I appreciate you. And you, Dave, if there's one thing that I've learned from you is in the future, when the next generation of KIRO Radio comes in, you have taught me how to treat the next generation. You have taught me how to communicate, how to deal with. I apologize. I've been nuts and crazy all over the place with you, but you always had that very simple way of saying, hello, G. So today, you look great, my man.
Thank you.
I see the 1/4-inch sleeve coming out of there.
Yep.
You look good. The cufflinks look great. Your shoes, they look great. You look sharp. And so, Dave Ross, I always called you the godfather of radio. This place, this world will never have another Dave Ross in radio.
Thank you very much. And what can I say? I want to see radio stay alive, as I told you in the luncheon. It's live. It's immediate. There's no buffering. It's from our studio to that transmitter to that radio. Every smartphone should have an FM radio built in. AM apparently is technically impossible, but should have an FM radio built in, because I tell you what, the day the internet goes dark, radio will still be there, as long as there are people like you guys to do it. So that's your mission. That is my charge to you as the outgoing host of Seattle's Morning News. And with that, I'll just say goodbye, and Dave Ross out. Hit the network.
If you need a friend,